Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, July 6th. My name is Alan, and I want to welcome you to my Spiritual Growth Through Recovery podcast. The purpose of these videos is to grow my spirituality by following the AA program of recovery, and I try to do that by being as honest, vulnerable, and accountable as I can be, which is why I make the videos. No expert in spirituality, recovery, or AA. Just trying to live life on life's terms and do it sober. All right. Recipe we follow here is we read the daily reading out of the AA Daily Reflection book. There's a link in the description if you'd like to follow along. And then usually share my take on that and sometimes some other topic that's rolling through my head. All right. All right. So today the topic is going to be identifying fear and the idea of trust. All right. So July 6th, identifying fear. The chief activator of our defects has been self-centered fear. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 76. When I feel uncomfortable, irritated, or depressed, I look for fear. This evil and corroding thread is the root of my distress. Fear of failure, fear of others' opinions, fear of harm, and many other fears. I have found a higher power who does not want me to live in fear, and as a result, the experience of AA in my life is freedom and joy. I am no longer willing to live with the multitude of character defects that characterized my life while I was drinking. Step 7 is my vehicle to freedom from these defects. I pray for help in identifying the fear underneath the defect. And then I ask God to relieve me of that fear. This method works for me without fail and is one of the great miracles of my life in Alcoholics Anonymous. Man, good stuff, man, good stuff. So whenever the chief activator of all the defects, all the jealousy, all the greed, all the anger, self-centered fear. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Our perception of reality leads us to a place of fear, and then we act out in some way. Really not a surprise, right? When I feel uncomfortable, irritated, depressed, I look for fear. I never used to do that. When I'd act that way, I'd act out some way to deal with that discomfort, irritability, or depression. Instead of looking what's going on with me, I tried to fix whatever's out there, right? I'd react out of emotion, typically in a selfish, unhealthy way. Yeah, no good, no good. That's cool that there's a better way. There really is. I love the vocab in this program. The evil and corroding thread is the root of my distress. Fear of failure, fear of others' opinions, fear of harm, many other fears. It's not some slight dilemma. It's an evil and corroding thread, which will destroy or weaken something gradually. It just eats at you, and I definitely can feel that. I found a higher power does not want me to live in fear. I mean, what kind of loving God would want that? I mean, I don't want that for my kids, so why would my higher power have want that from me? So I definitely don't believe that. So the idea that we have a choice here. I am no longer willing to live with the multitude of character defects. I don't want them anymore. Willing to let them go, right? And step 7 is that vehicle, let them go. And it's a neat little thing when the defects come. So it's like, why am I irritated? Well, it's a fear. Have I ever thought to actually dig, what is that fear that I'm feeling? Not just why am I uncomfortable? I pray for help, and then ask God to take those fears. Yeah, really cool stuff, man. Really cool stuff. Tomorrow we're going to kind of talk about the second half of that. So we identify it, and then we let it go tomorrow. All right. So I want to talk about the idea of trust. I've been dealing with some trust issues, going both directions in my life, right? Trust towards others and trust me being trustworthy, right? So what is this? What is trust? It's a belief in a character, reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. This is they say who they are or what they are or what they're going to do, and they'll do it, right? That's you can believe in that. Why is trust important? It's really essential for all communication. If we won't feel comfortable communicating our thoughts, feelings, and needs to others if there's no trust, right? There'll be less innovation, less collaboration, less creative thinking, less productivity, and people will spend most of their time protecting themselves instead of opening that up to vulnerability and taking, if I know if I throw some idea out there, I'm not going to get, you're an idiot, then I'm more willing to do that, all right? So that's to trust that. So what are some common ways trust is broken? By lying or infidelity, by not following through, breaking our promises, stealing or treating someone disrespectfully, if we now don't listen to someone or neglect them, right? Withholding the truth, not telling someone how we really feel. And then by control or judging someone or not accepting somebody, right? That's how ways that trust can be broken. I don't know about you, but if I try it and it's nope, done, right? And that's not a great way to live, because just because that person wasn't trustworthy doesn't mean other people aren't trustworthy, right? So why do we break this trust with others? I think ultimately it's because of fear, right? We're afraid of hurting another person, or we're somehow insecure or selfish in that whole thing. I think sometimes our intentions are good, but then something happens and, well, I come first, so I'm going to have to let that go. So why do we stop trusting altogether? I think childhood traumas can cause that. You'll go enough at times trying to trust people and they burn you. Why are you going to try, right? But I think also unrealistic expectations can play a big part. Yeah, I'm very untrustworthy at work and in relationships. I don't trust people. I have a hard time delegating, so I don't trust people until they show me. And then I have a hard time if I open up about something and they react poorly or they don't listen, done. And that's not a good way to do it. So how do I get that willingness to put myself out there again, knowing that these people aren't perfect, you know? We can't just keep moving people around in our life. We're going to stay in one place and try to work within the people in our life, not just keep moving them in and out, right? We need to ground ourselves in some kind of routine so we run into similar people, right, that we can build our relationships with. At some point, we have to give a little and take a risk and see what happens. We can't expect perfection on the other end. But we also don't want to ignore red flags, right? Sometimes we can ignore those red flags because we're afraid that, I was in a relationship for 7, 8 years because I didn't think I'd have anybody else. So the red flags everywhere, and I didn't really pay attention to them. And we grow in the belief that we deserve to be around trustworthy people. If we don't believe that we be around trustworthy people, then we'll probably surround ourselves with those. And ultimately, we got to work through a past hurt. Just because I got burned in this relationship doesn't mean I drag it into this one, and they have to, I project onto them. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously I have to prove that I'm trustworthy. I can't just expect them to be and not hold up my end of the bargain. So, anyway, that's just kind of what I got for today. Hope you got something out of it. I know I did. I just want to encourage you to, find that willingness to identify when you got fear inside of you, when you're disturbed. Like it says, I think it's step 10. Whenever I'm disturbed, there's something wrong with me. So maybe ask another 1 or 2 why questions. What's going on with me? What am I afraid of? Okay. Then it comes down to my perception and my fear. Maybe we can not, act out towards people we love, right? All right, cool. Hope your week is going well. Tomorrow is Friday. Be back for the wrap up of the week, and see you tomorrow. Peace out.